love it.
Welcome back, everybody, to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker. With me, as always, my co-host is Victoria Monday. We have a fantastic episode for you tonight. We're going to be talking about remote viewing and finding missing persons with psychic medium Patricia Monna. Let me give you a little bit of information about her. Fantastic woman, very fun to talk to as well. So, Patricia is an internationally known psychic medium, remote viewer, and founder of Psychic Awareness Retreats. Patricia has dedicated her time and expertise to local and international law enforcement agencies from around the world to help locate missing persons and bring closure to victims of homicide, kidnapping, or unexplained disappearances, or unexplained disappearances. I'm reading, right? Patricia's been featured on Deep Space as an expert remote viewer for Gaia TV and has appeared on Gaia's hit show Beyond Belief with George Noory. In addition to locating missing persons, Patricia teaches psychic development, guided meditations, and meets privately with clients from around the globe. Patricia, it is fantastic to have you with us tonight. Absolutely appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, absolutely. And, we kind of like really got into it before the show just rolled right into everything that we're going to be talking about tonight. But you have this fantastic ability as a psychic medium to do remote viewing, and you use this ability to find missing persons, and you have found quite a few in your years as a psychic medium. So just for the audience's sake, can you kind of describe a little bit what remote viewing is and how that works?
Yeah, so remote viewing is the ability to be able to tune into a specific target, which can be a person, place, or thing in the entire universe remotely. So me sitting at home in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, while I'm looking into a missing person case in Wimberley, Texas, or out in Australia, it doesn't matter where I am where the case is taking place in the world. It's the ability to be able to link in energetically and be able to give information on that target.
Yeah, fantastic. And we kind of had a little moment there just before we went live, kind of defining the difference between astral projection and remote viewing, because I think people do kind of get those two a little bit confused. So what's the difference between astral projection and remote viewing?
Yeah, there is definitely a difference between astral projection and remote viewing. Astral projection is when you're actually coming out of your body, your spirit, your mind, your eyes, everything, and you can see it like you're right there. Whereas with remote viewing, you're not leaving your body. Your consciousness is still locked inside and you're tuning in remotely from wherever you are. So astral traveling is that deep state of super relaxation that we need to get into right before we fall asleep. That's the greatest opportunity or window to be able to astral travel. But the hardest part about that is not falling asleep, right? So you got to try and train yourself to stay awake because you get quite relaxed. So,
yeah, that's always been my issue whenever I've tried to meditate or, and I had mentioned before the show that I have almost gone OBE one time in my life when I was a teenager, and I really had no idea what I was doing at that time. And talking with people afterward, they told me, yeah, you were like really on the verge. And so I have tried it since then, and that seems to always be my problem, is that I end up falling asleep or getting close to falling asleep. So what are some tips and tricks to kind of prevent yourself from that happening?
Well, you got to kind of look for the signs that you're about to go out. So your body becomes really, really fuzzy, and you feel like every cell is vibrating. You might even hear a ringing sound within your ears. And one of the greatest things, I remember the very first time I astral traveled, and I did it on purpose. I had gone to the Monroe Institute, and they give us these specific binaural beat frequencies that we can listen to that will help you to be able to induce an outer body experience. And I remember when, I was feeling the fuzzies and I could tell I was just about to come out. And I remember feeling, and thinking to myself, oh my God, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. And before I knew it, I was out of my body. And I remember thinking to myself as soon as I came out, wow, Paul Elder, my teacher who taught the course, I'm like, he's right. This does feel so natural. I was like, where have I done this before? I know I've done this before. And then all of a sudden, I was in my childhood home. And I know that when you're in that dimension, when you're astral traveling, there's no such thing as space and time. You can go backwards in time, forwards in time. You can really look into anything. Because all of a sudden, I was staring at the orange shag rug, from the 1970s that I grew up with. So, and all the furniture was there and everything. So yeah, it's quite trippy for people who never experienced it to kind of wrap your head around it. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about what we're actually capable of.
There's always like a lot of clarity, like you're like, oh, that's what that meant, because I have done that too, and gone back to when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, okay, well now it makes sense why she did it that way. But I was a kid, I didn't know why they did things that way, but
yeah,
there's a clarity.
Totally, you can learn a lot from going into those dimensions, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So can you astral travel, or I know you can't, can you remote view while you're asleep? Have you ever done that? Or
you know what? It's hard. It's really hard because trying to direct your consciousness at a target when you're asleep is really difficult. It's hard enough to try and remember your dreams. I don't know. For me, it's difficult. I very seldom remember my dreams. I astral travel more than I dream. And the thing is that I know I'm out of my body because I've caught myself where I know I'm out of my body, and then all of a sudden I'm kind of sucked back in once my consciousness realizes I'm out. And so with remote viewing, your focus has to be directly on that target, right? And as you fall asleep, your mind wanders. So the stream of energy is not as concentrated to tune in.
So when you're, if I may, like when a law enforcement or someone comes to you and they need help with a missing person case, do they give you any details, or they just say this? And do you have to meditate to get into that state, or you're like, boom, I'm on?
Well, they're very, very tight-lipped. Unless I also work with the immediate family. I don't just pick up any case. I only take cases where it's the officer in charge of the investigation calls me in, or else it's the immediate family. And the reason why I do that is I want the information to get into the hands of the people who will actually have the means to get out there and search for the person who's missing, right? Because I volunteer my time for this. This isn't how I make my money day to day. I truly believe, if God gave me this crazy ability to be able to do this, I feel like it's my duty to do it.
Right.
So sorry, I wandered there for a second. What was the question again?
That's okay. We were all wondering. I know, I forgot. But it was a good answer, whatever it was.
Well, let me go ahead and ask this. Small world, Patricia, you worked on a case that Victoria is actually connected to down there in Texas. Do you want to, I know Victoria was like shielding herself from the images, but you want to talk about that case a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll step back. Yeah.
Sure. One of the cases that I got called into was in Wimberley, Texas in 2015. A house that was on stilts next to the river actually got washed down the river. And so one of the ladies who was on the search and rescue team knew about me and contacted me and see if I would remote view to help find the victims. And right away I told them, I said, I'll only be able to find 6 out of 8 of the people that are missing. I said, because I can only feel and lock into the energetic signature of 6 people. And to date, 2 of the victims have never been found. And I was showing you guys earlier, so this is an example of the power of remote viewing. So what I've been trained to do, and what comes naturally to me as well, is I have to take what I see in my mind's eye and I have to go onto Google Earth and I have to drop a pin of where the search and rescue team should look for the missing people. And so with this one, it states this was a screenshot from a private group that was set up between the Wimberley Search, Track and Rescue and all of the volunteers that were actively searching. And so it states, it was stated the little boy was found on the Blanco River close to Water Park Road. The psychic appears accurate. Her pin's yellow, mine red. So as you can see, this is where I told them to search. And this is where, unfortunately, the victims were found.
Yeah, one thing we didn't mention is that the house was full of people when it got washed down the river. And they were all calling, like during 9/11. Oh, go ahead. It's like, I love you, goodbye. So that was really...
That's terrible.
I am so sorry to hear that. And, it's amazing how small of a world this is because this is close to home for you. So.
Yeah. But it's good that you found them. I mean, that's amazing.
At least they were put to rest, right? At least their family now
there's closure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the bigger aspects of this, with the remote viewing that you do to help these law enforcement agencies is that, with a lot of these people, they're unable to find their loved ones and they never get that closure. But by you helping law enforcement to find these people, you are able to give them closure if in fact, the person has passed.
Absolutely. And to be very honest with you, to date, I found 29 missing people and I've only found one person alive. Usually by the time I'm called in, they've passed.
Do you see it from their point of view, or like if you were like looking, like you're one of the rescuers? How do you see it?
There's so many different ways for me to be able to tune in. I can do it through remote viewing where it's like I'm standing there looking through their eyes, seeing their memories. So there's a divine matrix up there that has the memories of everything that's ever happened, every thought that we've ever had inside of our head. It's not private. It's the energy. It's out there. It's the energy that we emit, or I wouldn't be able to track it, right? So every single one of us has an energetic signature. And, it's interesting, even just talking about that case, I can feel their energy trying to come through. So yeah, it's tough talking about that stuff. Because when you speak about someone who's passed over, it's like their ears perk up.
Yeah, they come back. I have found that out.
And then it's ADD for me, but so it's like if they're passed over and I can feel their energetic signature and I can hear their voice on the other side, that's one way of communication. The second way is through remote viewing, like I'm watching it through that energetic imprint in time. So reading it that way, it's almost like I've watched the movie about what happened, or I've read the person's life's book and I'm just looking on what chapter I need to look into, right? And then you can look at it from the bird's eye view. And also, like if there's a perpetrator involved, if someone is murdered, God forbid, I can actually get into the mind of the murderer. So I know how to be able to track an outbounder. An outbounder is someone who's still alive, has a beating pulse. I need to be able to look into their energy the same way if I was giving you a reading through Zoom, I can look into your memories, tune into your energy and be able to go backwards and forwards with your memories. I can do the same thing with someone who's committed the crime.
So if you can backward look or remote view backwards, can you remote view forwards?
Absolutely. Yeah, because there's no such thing as time. I'll give you a really good example of that.
So you're precognitive?
Oh, one of my favorite topics.
Well, I have a client who came to me. She was a single mom working like 14 hours a day. And I had read for her a few times throughout the years. And this one time, I remember she comes in, and I'm basically, when I tuned in, I said, "Oh my God, you're winning the lottery. You're winning the lottery." She looks at me crazy. I said, "You're winning the lottery, girl." And she is like, "Okay, well, if I'm winning the lottery, when is this happening?" Well, I predicted it right down to the date, but not just the one date, to the 2 dates. I told her that on November 27th that she would buy the ticket, and December 2nd was the date that she'd find out. She won $7 million.
Oh
my God.
$7 million.
I hope she gave you part of that as a finder's fee.
No, but she gave me a really kick-ass testimonial. And to be honest with you, that to me is worth its weight in gold, because it's proof, right? Like, how did I do that? What are the mathematical odds of that?
Surely you got a muffin basket or something. Okay.
Oh, I won't get into that. But no. I won't get into that. That's her stuff. Okay. But she's a very good client. She left me a very nice tip.
That's great. That's great. So we do have some questions coming in from the chat room. So Sarah Youssef asked, does remote viewing require a form of energetic imprinting in order to tune in?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the more solid the imprint, the easier it is. So we'll say I wear this sweatshirt all the time. The more I wear it and don't wash it, it's going to retain my energy. So someone like me, or, someone who does remote viewing or does psychometry, can come along and feel the energetic imprint of this shirt and go, okay, I know where this person is. Same way, if this sweatshirt was missing, if it's got an energetic imprint, I can track it as long as I can get into the energy of the person whose shirt is missing, if that makes sense. Whether it's an object or a person, the more energy in the object, or the same thing goes with, psychology has proven that all it takes is 17 seconds of severe concentration and you can get into the mind of someone. You can send your a best friend or a loved one a message. How many times does that happen where you think of someone and then boom, you bump into them, right? Well, that's all it takes, 17 seconds of concentration, and you can tune into anything, right? But the more energy it has, the easier it is to get into.
Do you ever lose your keys? Or can you find them right away?
I lose my keys. Trust me, without my husband, I'd be walking into walls. He tells me that all the time. Because there's no left brain logic in this girl's head whatsoever. None. Well, mind you, I was a palliative oncology nurse for 13 years, but that seems so long ago. I've been doing this stuff now for so long that sometimes I don't feel like my feet are on the ground anymore.
Well, that's good. You're out there. There was something I was going to ask you, but I can't remember now.
I thought you had a whole list, Victoria.
I did when we were talking about something. Do you feel you have one of the clairs stronger than the other clair? Like, are you clairvoyant or clairsentient, or you got them all?
I would kind of say I guess I kind of have them all. And you know what? For any parents out there that know that their child is a little crystal baby or a little psychic kid, one of the greatest things that my mom did for me that I totally believe helped for me to develop this was she would read me bedtime stories that didn't have pictures in it. She never picked the books with pictures in it. And I remember always bugging her, Mom, why can't you read us the picture books? She said, no. She goes, the power is in your imagination. She goes, I want you to visualize it and tell me what you see. Visualize it and tell me what you see. And I can't stress enough, the power is in the visualization techniques. If I can't visualize a body being in a body of water, it's not in the body of water. If I can't visualize it being buried underground, that's because it's not there. I can tell how much something has weight to it by how clear I can visualize something.
Ooh, is this something that runs in your family then? Are your parents and aunts and uncles?
My mom, but she was petrified of it, slept with her nightlight on every night and would pray it away, rebuke it in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. So yeah, she had it, but petrified her. Yeah, it scared her a lot.
Okay. Sounds familiar.
We have a question here from Joy, since you mentioned the term crystal baby. So those down in the chat are wondering what a crystal baby is. Uh-oh.
It's like an indigo, kind of like an indigo baby.
Did we lose Patricia?
She froze.
I'm a gifted child here to change it. Can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah, you kind of
Can you
froze
hear me
up there
now?
for a second.
It's a bad Verizon commercial. um, so a crystal child is a child who can easily sense energy, which I mean can cause them to feel very overwhelmed at times if they're around big groups. They don't like that. They need their space. They really resonate with the earth, with crystals, for example. They're drawn to it. They're drawn to learning about angels or knowing that something is greater out there. They just have that higher sense that they're here to change the world, here to make a difference. There are children that are just born with that kind of an energy. And that's what I mean by crystal babies. They glow differently. They really do. They sparkle. Like their auric fields look like little shimmering fairy dust all around them. I can tell who they are just by looking at them.
Yeah, but not like vampires on Twilight, right?
No.
Team Jacob. No, my daughter was like that when she was young. When she was not even 2, and I was watching Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca. It's one of my favorite. Oh no, Laura. I was watching Laura. It's one of my favorite movies. And she's 2, not even 2, and she comes walking in, and she goes. Suddenly, she's British. Mummy, are you watching Strangers on a Train? And I'm just like, no. How do you know that? First of all, I'm like, no, I'm watching Laura. And then she turned into a teen. And, that kind of went away. But she's getting it back now. So she's been telling me things. I'm like, no, it's not. Oh, hey, it happened. So do you find that they kind of lose it for a little bit and then they come back to their true purpose?
I think so. Absolutely. And it's a calling. It really is. Like, I remember I was about 5 or 6 years old when I knew that I wanted to work with the elderly. My mom, I grew up going to church every Sunday with my parents. My parents were very Christian, and at Christmas time, they had the kids choir go to all of these nursing homes and do, choir.
Right.
And when we were singing, I started crying, and my mom kind of grabbed me. She goes, "Are you okay? What's the matter?" And I was just so filled with love and joy in that moment. I never forgot it. And I always knew I wanted to work with the elderly. And so I did. I went straight into palliative care and gerontology. And it was through nursing, actually, that I realized that this was more of an ability than just common sense. Because honestly, I didn't know that you guys aren't, or everybody else isn't psychic. I just thought it was life. I thought it was common sense. And even with nursing, I could look at a patient and know what was wrong with them, if they had cancer, where it was, things like that, because it's a glitch in their energetic field. And so, when I see it, I look further and find out, exactly where it is. I thought every nurse could do that. I didn't know that it was just me. I didn't know.
Yeah. Could you tell if they were getting close to the end? Oh, okay. I can only imagine how comforting that might have been to.
It's,
to help them,
It's an amazing honor to be there when someone takes their last breath. It is such an honor to be able to say a prayer and bring them that peace. And I gotta tell you, angels really do fill the room. It is the most. It's hard to describe the joy and the internal fuzzy ripples of happiness and serenity that come over you when angels come, to be with that person as they transition. It's actually quite the miraculous process. If you ever have the unfortunate gift of being in that position.
I have. It was a different thing. It wasn't warm and fuzzy, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it was later.
Well, anyway. It's quite welcome when they cross. It really is. There's
Yeah.
a big, huge crowd of loved ones that always come.
Mm-hmm. I remember when Rob Goutreau was on, he was talking about seeing his parents and his canine companions and everything. And how amazing that was. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Animals cross over. They keep on going. They do. And our loved ones watch them until we get there.
A lot of cats here.
They're not your cats.
They are not my cats.
Oh, wow.
Let me ask you something, Patricia.
Yeah.
Because you're working with law enforcement. The military has previously used remote viewers in like Project Stargate, but there still seems to be like a public stigmatism against this type of ability. Do you think that's starting to maybe relax a little bit? That more people are starting to accept this as something that's legitimate, or are you still finding some pushback there?
Well, you know what? I really hope so, because I'm to the point in my career where I found 29 missing people. I can back it up. I can back
Right.
it up 100%. And how did I do it? How did I do it? You know what I mean? And I've been called into it. I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect, but I've done it enough times that law enforcement do call me in, right? And so, but man, it's been tough. It's been an uphill battle because law enforcement are the biggest skeptics. You can
Sure,
be
yeah.
95% correct, and if you're 5% wrong, they'll crucify you based on that 5%. And the thing is, it's always nerve-wracking working with them because you never know if you're right until the end. And they never let you know anything. They don't, like, it is stone-faced. When they're interviewing you, when you're working with them, they just listen. And so it's a good thing that I talk people's ears off. Because yeah, they just sit there and take it all in. I worked on this one case out in, I guess, well, it's close to home, so I won't mention where. But where they came out and they videotaped me for 6.5 hours.
Wow.
And I reenacted the murder, where the weapon was found, where the body was found, and everything. So, I mean, it's been an uphill battle, but I think what lends to my credibility is, hey, they got nothing to lose, right? I'm doing it for free. Never charged. I never will. That is so wrong. Ethically, morally, spiritually, on so many levels. If you're sitting on an amazing ability, you best be using it for the highest good, or it can be taken away just as quickly as it was given. That's what I think. So I may have a bit of a potty mouth, but I spend about 95% of my day in prayer. I have to. I got to keep the vessel clean for the information to flow, right?
That's funny. We were having this exact same conversation with a friend and I today. I was like, that's just wrong to charge, because
it's so wrong.
When people are in need, I mean, that's...
You know what? I'm going to be very honest with you. I personally think that I make $185 an hour doing readings. I'm going to be very honest. I went to school to be a nurse. My top dollar would have been like $52. And I think it's ridiculous what psychics make, honestly. And so, but my thing is, if I sat there and charged $20 for my reading, you'd skip over me because they'd be $20 readings, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to find that price. And I mean, the good psychics in my area, they've gone up to like $275, $325. Wow. Like, you know how wrong that is? In a time when people need us right now, mm-hmm. They need light, they need hope, to be upping your dollar. Like, I don't know. I'd just be careful who I go to. And I do give a money back guarantee. If I can't connect with a person and give a reading that blows a person's socks off, I don't charge. Why would you? I would never want someone walking away from me going, well, that was a crock of crap, because I'm not perfect. I have my days where I'm like, I know what I can do, and that wasn't it. So let's reschedule you. And there's no fee for it today. And I wouldn't care if I spent 2 hours trying to tap into the person. I would never charge them. I want them to walk away going, wow. Because I truly believe that the only difference between a skeptic and a believer is the experience.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Right? That's wonderful. Yeah. I was telling my friend, it's like I help my friends for free because if I can, I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Too. That's why we're here, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
All right, well, we have some other questions coming in from the chat. Interesting one here from Full Disclosure Planet. Patricia, have you remote viewed and been noticed by an active conscious entity while viewing that timeline?
Yeah, yes. Icky. Okay. Kind of glad that you asked that. So I will tell you, this past summer, I was invited out to be on a couple of shows with Gaia TV. and they asked me to look into aliens, and they asked me to look into, what was the other thing? Mummies, the Nazca mummies. The shows aren't out yet, but I'll put it up on my Facebook and stuff. I'll put links to it when it does come out. And I was on George Noory, but it was about remote viewing. Anyways, so when I started looking into aliens, and let me back up. When I first met Johnny Enoch, my friend Lisa said to me, she goes, you start hanging out with these alien people that believe in aliens, you're going to start seeing aliens. And I'm like, Lisa, I'll be quiet. You got to believe in that crap first, right? I've never had anything remotely, any alien encounters at all. Well, so ironically, I get asked, a few months later to look into aliens for Gaia TV, and lo and behold, yeah, that stuff is real, very real. And I've now had my own encounter that I can't even believe I'm admitting, out in public, that that stuff is real, and it's a consciousness, and it can absolutely attack you 100%. So I'm constantly very consciously aware of my energy, clearing it, keeping myself in a high vibration. I got nothing to hide. So if people are spying on me, the way I do this work, because I've worked on some pretty scary cases, and what and the police do not promise me any sort of protection whatsoever, just because I do this. But the way I look at it is, you know what? If God wants me to do this work and find these people, he's got to have my back. He's got to have my back, right? Mm-hmm. Got to have my back. And that's what I have faith in. So even when it comes to aliens and other forms of consciousness that have bad intentions, I know how to cleanse myself. I know who my light is that works through me. And so my faith is what protects me, I truly believe.
Have you ever worked on a case that has been so weird, that can't be right, but then it turns out to be right, and you're just really surprised that you even got that?
Yes, absolutely. I've seen some pretty weird things, absolutely, that until you kind of piece it all together, mm-hmm. You can't fully comprehend the whole picture. But yeah, there are definitely some very strange people out there, for sure.
Yeah, maybe a few.
Yeah.
So you mentioned our friend Johnny Enoch a few minutes ago, and got to mention that this June we're all going to Egypt, and you're going to be a remote viewer there. So you want to kind of highlight that a little bit, and I'll see if I can dig up the poster here real quick.
Thank you for mentioning it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when I first met Johnny, he said to me, he goes, okay, if there's no such thing as time, do you think that you can remote view the pyramids? And so I thought, okay, I've never done this before, but why not? And so I did. And the stuff that I was able to say to him, and I know nothing about Egypt, never looked into it, never been there, nothing. Oh, there we go.
There's the poster.
Thank you.
Sure.
But yeah, so I said enough stuff to him that it got me invited on the tour. And Muhammad, the one guy on the end, he is the Egyptologist and the Egyptian guide that's going to be leading the tour with us. And yeah, he was pretty surprised at the accuracy of what I was able to remote view. And so yeah, I was able to be invited on their tour, and I can't wait because I saw it. I saw how this stuff was built. I was able to see even the personalities of the pharaohs and who was around there, what their abilities were. Like, you guys, the energy radiance that came off of these beings, and I say beings, they were people, don't get me wrong, but they radiated such a higher, magnificent light because they knew everything about energy back then. They were acoustic engineers. So they knew a lot of stuff about energy and mystical secrets that I think we've lost through the ages. There's a lot of ancient wisdom that is hiding in plain sight in Egypt. So I can't wait to get there and show you guys how this stuff works, because I am the practical application. Johnny is the history. I'm going to show you guys how to be able to tune in, see it for yourself. Because, like I said, only difference between a skeptic and a believer is the experience. So come and experience it, feel it, see it, radiate with it. We're going to be doing sound healing in the Great Pyramid of Giza. We also have special permissions where it's only our group that has the Sphinx and the pyramid on the night of the equinox. So we get to see.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing.
Up, and we're going to open up some stargates there. I've been shown exactly what a stargate looks like, what to do to get the upgrades and downloads. And yeah, so if you want to know, you got to come.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how it's built unless you come. I promise, John, I will. It's secret until we get there.
Yeah, returnofkepfercycle.com. So go ahead and check it out, sign up. I'm going to be on that as well, so I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, what I do find interesting, Patricia, is that you really don't know a whole lot about Egypt. I mean, everybody knows what a pyramid is and what the Sphinx is and all that, but it's not like you're Egyptian history buff or anything like that.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm going to be very honest with you. I didn't really even have an urgency on my bucket list to go to Egypt. You know, I have a weak stomach. So, but I mean, I can't say no. Are you kidding me? This is an opportunity of a lifetime to go and do what I love in such an amazingly magical place. And even just tuning in, you know, I could literally feel where the vortex of energy begins, and the whole area is lit up in vortex energy. So if you even go near it for miles, you're going to feel the force field of those pyramids.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of my big interests out there, the vortices and the portals and the energy that's out there. So I'm extremely looking forward to this. Yeah.
That's what I do in Sedona. I normally teach at least 2 psychic awareness development retreats that we go out there for a week, and I take everyone to go meditate in all the vortexes, and I teach them how to do psychic development in the vortexes, because sitting in that energy, it is so easy to teach people how to reach between that veil. It's super easy. It makes it, it magnifies the energy. So
Sedona's awesome. Oh.
Magical.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite vortex there? Bell Rock.
Actually, right where our retreat center is, we are at the bottom of Cathedral Rock, and there's a vortex right there. And the retreat house is actually right at the bottom of it, where you can go off the property and it's like you're walking in it. It's just amazing. I found the perfect spot, but because of the lovely, shutdown, we're having to be grounded. So, but it'll happen again. I can't wait to get back out there. It's a magical place for sure.
It is. It's wonderful.
I have yet to be.
What?
I know. I haven't made it. I've been like everywhere all over the country. I've not yet made it to Sedona.
You're gonna love it.
You're mad.
Chaco Canyon, yes, but Sedona, no.
And you got to bring out the EMF detectors and all the paranormal equipment. I love that stuff. As a matter of fact, I have one.
Oh, there's your K2. All right.
Oh, and actually I have this one too, but I don't really know how to use it. I ordered it. Maybe you can verse this girl, because I don't really know how to use this one.
Okay.
I know how to use this one.
Was that whoops, that was, don't pop that back up there. What was that, a EMF?
I know how to use it.
Yeah, it looks like an EMF detector, yeah.
But this one is a fancy EMF detector that I bought on Amazon that I don't really know how to use.
Okay.
So you might have to school me one. This one's easy.
Will do.
You can take your dowsing rods. Oh my gosh, that would go.
I have those too. Those are in the other side of my office.
Yeah, I do have dowsing rods as well.
All the toys. Love dowsing rods.
Yeah, it's funny. Especially in the paranormal community, a lot of people shun the dowsing rods because on camera you could kind of fake moving them and all that, but they really, really work. And so it's like camera aside, the dowsing rods work.
Oh, Oh, for sure they do. They totally, you can feel it bounce off of someone's energetic field. So I actually use dowsing rods to be able to show people how far out their auric field goes. And they can feel it when you start walking into the auric field and you can literally start to see the dowsing rods open. That person can feel you slowly moving into their field, right? So it's perfect. I love those things. They're fun. I give demos with them all the time at my retreat. Great. And you can show the power of if your stones work for you or not. So we'll say you work with gemstones, right? If I'm holding this in my hand, does this weaken me or does this strengthen me? You can actually take dowsing rods and see if it strengthened your aura and brought it out further, or if it shrank it. You can tell, well, if you have a second person with you doing it.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I did not know that about using the dowsing rods to figure that out. Usually I just, put a stone in my hand and I can kind of feel a buzz off of it. So.
Yeah, but for people who can't really feel energy, it's like the visual effect of showing them like, hey, look, this does work.
All right, very cool. That makes sense.
You can also use them for like marshmallows if you go camping.
That too. Yes, you can.
I'm not saying I've
in
done
a pinch,
that.
you could, yes. So another question here from the chat room, Sarah Youssef. Patricia, do you believe in the Akashic record and that information is available in the universe?
Oh, absolutely. Every single one of us has a book or else a movie, because that's what I look at when I do a reading. And it's literally like watching someone's movie on mute. And I have the ability to fast forward it in time or rewind it in time, or have a look, plunk it right now and press play, and then see what's happening in the now in someone's life. So if there wasn't an Akashic record or some sort of record keeping of everything that's happened in this universe, there's no way I'd have a job. There's no way I would have a job doing this stuff.
So let me ask you this then, from all your experiences and what you've been able to see. And obviously, there's a world around us that we can't normally see with our own eyes. What is that world? If there's a way you could describe it, how would you describe it?
Well, I truly believe that the kingdom of heaven is within you. And if you want to go and explore other dimensions, you got to go within, because it's a personal experience. I can explain to you how I got to where I am, and teach you what I know. But unless you apply it and do it yourself, you're just hearing my truth, and then you're accepting my truth as yours. You got to look within. It takes meditation. It takes concentration. When I first started doing readings and missing persons, what I saw back then compared to what I can see now and how quickly I can see it. When I first started doing this, I could handle one reading versus now, 4 to 6 in a day. It's a muscle. The more you use it, the more it comes, right? So it takes practice, but go within, look within. Meditation is the number one greatest tool when it comes to this stuff, because it's all about connecting. You got to take your 5 senses in order to get to your 6th. So it's a combination of. So for example, if I wanted to, we'll say, connect with someone's energy, this is the way that I would do it. Think of an apple. I'm going to pretend a person is an apple, right? What I'm going to do to connect with that energy is I will literally imagine that apple in my hand, visualize it. What does it smell like? How firm is it? Move it around, see it from the bottom, see it from the top, take a bite. What does it taste like? Is it sour? Is it sweet? The more you tune in to specific things that get the 5 senses going, you're going to, before you know it, be able to tune in to the information with your 6th sense, or on that higher level. So the more you can visualize and move those 5 senses into the visualization, the easier it is to connect with the energy of what it is that you're trying to connect with. Does that make sense?
That sounds so easy.
It does. It does. So,
really, honest to God, it is. I teach weekend classes, and on Friday they're looking at me like, "Oh, Patricia, there's something special about you." And by Sunday they're going, "That was easy." I'm like, I know, you guys. I know. It really is that easy.
So if somebody wanted to learn how to remote view or become a remote viewer, is the same principles apply?
Yes and no. So this is the process that works for me. The technical process of remote viewing is quite different than what I've described here today. So we'll say I'm remote viewing an object and I'm doing it properly. I am going to write down the middle of the page certain descriptive words on the object. Like we'll say in my head, I am looking at a blue bin, right? Like a big blue trash can, a dumpster. Well, instead of writing a blue dumpster, I've got to write it's solid, it's metal, it's cold, it's outside, certain descriptive words. Well, my teacher would it kind of shake his head at me because I write the whole story. So as people are writing descriptive words, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you.
We're going to do some show and tell. All right.
I will. I'll do some show and tell. Hang on. Let me get out. Here's one of my targets. Okay, so this one was, I am going to show you a film in 20 minutes from now. Remote view what the film is about. Okay, that was the practice target. So the clip was on the planet Mars. What it was it showed an American rocket ship going up into space, and one part of the rocket breaks off once it gets gets into space. One part goes off into space, the other part breaks off, lands onto Mars, and it opens up, and it's the Mars rover that's then, taking pictures and walking around. And so that's what the target was, right? Red rocky planet. This is what I'm showing you in 20 minutes. So this is what I drew. So as you can see, here's my descriptive words. But then I got bored while everyone else was still going. I just drew out the whole story. So I know it's kind of crappy.
We can make it out a bit, yeah.
And I even got the red, white, blue because I knew it was American. And then, here's the camera crawling on the crater.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, and even my words like horizon, light, camera, action, up, vertical, walks, crawls, horizontal, loud, heavy, metal, steel, cold, dusty, dark, gray, leaving Earth behind, land with no water, by location, taking off and landing, American, is it the Hubble aircraft? And it was. Moving, motion, big event. So like you're supposed to explain the sensations behind it, the five senses behind it. You're not supposed to say what it is, because the thing is that when you remote view, you can get psychic impressions that aren't what you think it is. So even though I might think in my logical left brain that I'm looking at a blue dumpster in a back alley, I could actually be looking at a blue house or a blue shed. You understand what I mean? A small blue shed that could be the same size. So it's dangerous when you go listing stuff. But for me in my head, the whole story unfolds. Like I remember when one of the targets was the Titanic, and all you get is this number. This is what we got afterwards to show our accuracy. But all you get is this number that's written on a manila envelope. I think maybe this is inside of the envelope, I'm sure. I don't know actually what's inside of the envelope. But all I know is this is on outside of it, and there's an energetic link between this number and the target. So we need to tune into the number to see what the target is, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, and then here's one that I did. This was an outbounder this was a person who was alive, and she was standing. We had to see through her eyes, and the teacher was going to call her on the phone in 45 minutes after the exercise. Where is she? Look through her eyes, trace her. So this is what it looked like at, that she was there. This is what I drew.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Mine tell the story. And that's why my teacher, and I'm not saying this to brag, but he actually said to me, Paul Elder, he says, Patricia, you be very careful who gets their hands on you.
Ooh.
So I am. I'm very careful with who I work with. I'm careful what cases I take. I'm careful because this stuff is real. And the thing is, I've gotten to the point in my career that, you know, when I bump into a skeptic or someone is a hardcore skeptic, I just kind of laugh and keep walking because I'm like, oh God, I'll pray for you. I feel so sorry for you. If that's the reality that you live in and you can't see that there is something more than this 3D Tim Hortons Canada plug-in that I'm doing right now, then
not sponsored by Tim Hortons.
Right?
A. Nice.
So yeah, there's so many more dimensions than this one. But like I said, without the experience, people aren't going to know. They're just going to listen and take in everyone else's truth. You got to go and explore to get your own truth. You do, right? It's how far you're going to jump down the rabbit hole.
That's kind
Pun intended.
Let me ask you a question. This might be kind of goofy, but when I was a kid, and if Sarah's in the chat, she can probably verify this. We would play Barbies, and then let's do some ESP cards, or let's do light as a feather, stiff as a board. And that was normal for us and our group of friends to do that kind of stuff. I'm just now discovering that's not how normal kids grow up. But were you like that too? I mean, did you always have an inkling for other dimensions, I guess?
Absolutely. And actually, you know, what's interesting is I went to a garage sale when I was 10 years old, and I bought a book called Everyone is Psychic. And it's about Edgar Casey. I can't even remember the name of it. I still have it. I carted it with me. And the crazy thing is, so I was brought up very Christian and to believe that psychics and fortune tellers and all of that, you know, you're going to hell if you even go near them. And you know what? So I got to tell you, because I'm sure there might be a few Christians or people, you know, of faith watching this. I have to tell you, so I had a big problem with the word psychic when I came out about this, because it's like, what do you call it, honestly? Mm-hmm. And so when I had a big problem calling myself a psychic. Even the word intuitive kind of freaked me out. And so I prayed and I meditated about it, and it's like, why is there no other word that I can use? And what I heard was, I get to teach about the power of God, the power of love, the power of, interdimensional light beings. I get to teach that to people who had never set foot in church, never really have much to do about religion, and I do read for a lot of Catholics and Christians because they can feel, and that's the thing is that even in the Bible, it says, you will know by the light that they carry, they will emit that light. And I do believe that it is your faith, that for me, that's where I get my information from. And I refuse to go into the dark realm. So I never played with a Ouija board. To be honest with you, I never even touched a tarot card. Don't have a crystal ball. It's not how I do my thing. But I know who works through me. 100% I know. And I think I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong. But my accuracy is really high up there. And I think that is because of the realms that I work in, right? Mm-hmm. Because right. Even in the Bible, it talks about, you'll know who has the gift of prophecy versus a psychic fortune teller by their accuracy as well. Right. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not flawless. Don't get me wrong. I have my off days, but it's freaky, the stuff that I've seen and been accurate, like even with that lady with the lottery. And there's so many other stories like that, I sit back some days and go, whoa, sometimes it's a little much.
Yeah. A friend of mine.
I don't remember saying.
You scare yourself sometimes?
Well, when I hear back, because a lot of the times I won't remember, and I don't know if my memory is naturally crappy, but I could do a reading at 9 a.m. in the morning, and by noon, I've forgotten their name, what they look like, everything. It's literally like their information walked out the door. And I always tell people, this is Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, because trust me, it's not going home with me. I'm not going to remember a thing. So
should I buy a lottery ticket Saturday?
Oh, wow. There you go.
I'm asking for a friend.
Well, I don't know if timeline, but I'd wait. I don't think it's a very good investment.
No, I don't think so either. A friend of mine told me a long time ago, as long as you stay in the light, there is no darkness. So
absolutely,
I totally agree with you.
Absolutely.
So we are getting down toward the end of the show. We've only got about 5 minutes left. Let me see if there's a couple more questions here. Remember, we don't have a chat moderator anymore, so if anybody wants to volunteer. Okay, so let's see.
Did I see that anywhere? Where would I see that?
Oh, it's on the YouTube channel. Sarah Youssef. Patricia, do you find that mental preconceived concepts often hinder or change the information you perceive?
Oh yeah, definitely. I try to never watch the news because if there's a missing person case and I watch it on the news, I could very easily get a preconceived notion about it, and then it totally pollutes what I pick up, right? And same thing with, like, I don't want to know anything about the person. When I work on a missing person case, all I need is a picture of them and the coordinates or their last known where they went missing from. And from there, once I can get a visual of where they went missing from, I can usually track their whereabouts. But yeah.
It sounds, it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier, where you try not to draw conclusions from the information that you get. So I imagine if you do hear a bit of news, that becomes even tougher.
Yeah, totally. It'll block it from coming in, and then all you have is that preconceived notion of what was said, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, the least I know, the better. Yeah. The more I can do with.
Right. I just had where'd it go? Oh, from L. Collins, does Patricia go to a psychic or does she read her own energy?
I don't. I let life happen. You know why? Because tomorrow's not promised. And so I live life to the fullest every single day. The greatest thing about looking into other people's future is that I have so learned to stay in the now. I don't care what happens tomorrow. I don't want to know. I'm living it miracle by miracle, looking for the magic in every day, because I look at life as one big scavenger hunt of miracles. And it's cool because once you have that kind of open line of communication with, the big guys in the sky, it changes your life. It changes your outlook. I used to be one of the most depressed, suicidal people I knew years ago. It was terrible. I went for years, could barely get out of bed with depression. And so now that I have found my way, that my fuel, my passion, I don't want to live in bed anymore. I want to get up and seize the day and live it to the fullest. My husband likes to watch a lot of TV, and I refuse to because I don't want to watch other people living the life that I want to be living. So I get out there and I try and live it to the best of my ability.
There you go. You just go live it. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So, we got about 2 minutes left. So we have Patricia's link to her website down in the description of the YouTube video. But Patricia, for those that will be listening to the podcast later, can you go ahead and give them information about where people can find you?
Yeah, so my website is www.patriciamonna.com, and that's Mona with 2 N's. And if you feel like reaching out and dropping me a line, my email is info@patriciamonna.com. And you can find my business page on Facebook under Patricia Monna Intuitive Consulting. And I am on Instagram just under my name, Patricia Monna. I'm saying a lot of Patricia Monna. But yeah, it's all under my name.
Yeah, now I saw that you do retreats. Is that kind of on hiatus right now while everything's going on with COVID?
You know what? For right now it is. But Johnny and I, we are working on a 6-week program called Quantum Psychic, and it's going to be done online through Zoom. So anyone can join us from the comfort of their home. Plus, we'll be sending out the classes that will be recorded afterwards with homework and stuff and little tips and tricks to do. It's going to be awesome because that guy's a genius when it comes to history and esoteric history. Mind-blowing smart guy.
Yeah, Johnny's an amazing dude. for sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to that. So stay tuned for that. I'll definitely announce that on my website and on Facebook and all my social media.
Awesome. We'll definitely be on the lookout for that.
That sounds so fun.
It will be. I'd rather be in, well, not rather, I'd love to be in Sedona teaching out there. But, you know, unfortunately with the lockdown, there's not much we can do. So I'll be postponing that one and praying we can make it to Egypt.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right. Well,
and Ireland.
Yes, and Ireland this summer. So yeah. It should be a jam-packed, great summer. So we'll just keep putting some positive vibes out there, so that will happen.
Absolutely, we need it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Patricia, so much for coming on. Absolutely enjoyed it. Everybody, find her out at patriciamonna.com, and we'll have to have you back again soon.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I didn't talk too much. Sorry.
Oh, you're our guest. You're supposed to talk a lot.
Well, thank you. I had a blast.
All
I'm
right.
looking forward to having you in Egypt.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that, definitely. So, take care. Have a great night.
You too.
There we go. Patricia Monna. So
she's fun.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
I'll be remote viewing y'all while you're in Egypt.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a great time. That's going to be a great time. And that's how I met her. Really is through Johnny, and I was going on the Egypt trip, and we had a big Zoom call for it some weeks back, and so kind of got introduced to her, and I was like, just come on the show. So
yeah, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Yeah.
Not jealous at all.
Not jealous, and for all of you, there's the poster again.
Yay!
Return to Kepler cycle. So, and then Victoria and I and several others are going to be doing Ireland this summer. Again, fingers crossed. Really everything's up in the air with any of these trips that we're trying to do this year. So it's kind of like we hope, but we don't know yet. So.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So, normally right now I would thank our chat moderator for moderating the chat, but again, Quarantine Ghost is no more. So, yeah, so I need somebody.
Flew the coop.
Yeah, so I need somebody to step up. So,
I'm busy. I would.
Yeah, well, you're a little co-hosting there, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, but did all right. It seems like everybody kind of stayed in line and didn't go crazy down there, so I appreciate that. All right,
awesome.
So yes, they are. So normally this is also the time where I do the Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. However, we're going away from Patreon. The Patreon site is going to be no more because we're moving to a new membership site that I just released this past Sunday, connecteduniverseportal.com. So that's where all the Patreon stuff is going, like all the behind the scenes, the sneak peeks, all the monthly Q&A videos. I've got a bunch of articles that I've uploaded there. There's some other special features. Plus, there's also a group community feature out there as well. So it's kind of like a Facebook-like group or forum. So all the stuff that's out there at connecteduniverseportal.com. And I will be putting courses out there as well. So the first one's going to be on shadow entities, putting the finishing touches on that, doing some editing, and then that will go up. So no more Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. It's all out there at Connected Universe Portal. So be sure to check that out. So, and sign up for the newsletter out there.
You've been busy.
Yeah, because I also just released the ShadowDimension.com website as well, which is for the Shadow Dimension Docu-Series. So there's yep, yeah, that'll be
the book, the new book,
right? The new book. Oh yeah,
the new edition. You know what's funny?
Yeah, the second edition.
I placed my order for the book, and we'd also ordered Chinese food, and literally like 10 minutes later the doorbell rang. I'm like, book here already. But, no, it's the food. But anyway,
Yep. Oh, when I see
I guess you had to be there.
yeah. I see that Sarah Yusuf is asking about being able to chat during Beyond the Shadows. So that's another thing with ConnectedUniverse.com. That is where Beyond the Shadows is going to go. So the audio podcast will still come out like later in the week. The Beyond the Shadows live stream will actually be out there on ConnectedUniversePortal.com. So. And that will start at the beginning of February, the first week of February. So no live stream for Beyond the Shadows this week. It'll still be audio. And then next week, it'll be Beyond the Shadows live stream. And then, yes, you'll be able to chat there, Sarah. So,
What night? What night are you going to do that?
I'm still debating whether that's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. Probably Wednesday.
Okay, I can make it.
I'll put all the information out there once I have decided. What is that? That's going to be. I think that's February 2nd or 3rd, right? The 3rd. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say count on the 3rd for the Beyond the Shadows live stream.
Okie doke.
So all right. What else? I mean, yeah, you mentioned the second edition of the Walk in the Shadows book. That is now out. Mm-hmm. And I love the cover. Nicole.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, Nicole got that arranged, which was amazing. She surprised me with that one day. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. So that was a lot of work off my plate because I usually do the covers.
So what's next?
The Shadow Dimension docu-series, mm-hmm. finishing up the class, the first class on Connected Universe Portal, and then.
The coloring book?
The coloring book. There's the Alaska Triangle book.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I've got a good chunk of it done, and our good friend Johnny Enoch, who we were just talking about moments ago, is actually doing the forward for that. So that'd be really cool. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get to the shout-outs, everyone. Victoria, again, thank you for being amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Sarah's asking when's the docu-series coming out. Give me like 2 months because I'm still doing a lot of editing, and this is a big project. So I'm trying to get it out as soon as I can, but it's pretty intensive. Plus, I've been bogged down with other projects as well. I won't say bogged down because I've actually been enjoying all of this, but it's been a lot of work too. There's a lot that goes into putting together multiple websites and a membership site that's also going to have courses, and it's a lot of stuff. So
do you sleep? When do you sleep?
I sleep a few hours every night. Yeah.
Oh geez.
So all right, shout outs. Let's get to the participants tab. This is weird. So there's all kinds of people down here in the chat. I go to the participants tab. There's like 8. Are you serious? Okay. So,
lurking.
Yeah, I don't know. So, all right. So I want to thank Alex Lopez for joining us this evening. Appreciate that. Donna Liska, thanks for joining us once again. There's Eva Gellert. Thank you. Helen Espinoza, thanks for joining us. Jackie Campbell, thank you so much for joining us once again. There's Joy and Ren Oak. Hey, great to see you. Sarah Yusuf and Stanton's Journeys. I know Adam Tiller is lurking out there. Mm-hmm. There's Jill Nimchinsky, of course. And I'm going to have to scroll up here to get everybody. Haunted Road Media's Fairy Queen, Diane Hilbert, saying, what a wonderful guest tonight. Yeah, she absolutely was. Debbie 08, thanks for joining us again. TFT Tarot for today, thank you as always. L. Collins, thanks for joining us tonight. Says, my first show, amazing, thanks. Oh, thanks for joining us tonight. Full Disclosure Planet, thanks for joining us, and thanks for the question. Ricky, thank you for joining us as well. Empath Medium, good to see you out here. Quite a few new faces here this evening, so we want to thank, I'm sure, many followers of Patricia Monna for joining us this evening.
Empath Medium is a friend of mine. And
Empath Medium is a friend of yours? Awesome.
Was really pushing and promoting the show tonight. So
I absolutely appreciate that. Brad Waynick, thanks for joining us. Michelle Millions, great to see you out here. Here's EEQQ. Always appreciated. And Let's see. N.A., thanks for joining us once again. There's Beverly Oliveras. Thank you for joining us. Des Hernandez, thanks for joining us again. And there's Rick Gabbert. All right. Tim Schoen, for Tim. This episode of Edge of the Rabbit Hole is brought to you by Haunted Road Roast. It helps young ghosts. There you go, Tim. And Katie Palmer, thank you for joining us once again. And let's see who else is out here. All right, I'm going to scroll back down to the end. Trudy Astrologer, thanks for joining us. Scroll back down to the end of the chat here, see if there's anybody else. And there's Patricia Monna. All right.
Hey, she made it.
She made it to the chat. Fantastic. All right. And, yep, see, there was Adam Tillery lurking. I knew it. He's always lurking. All right. So, again, everybody, thank you so much for a wonderful show. Check out Patricia's site, patriciamona.com. Check out our new websites, which are shadowdimension.com, which is the Shadow Dimension Docu-Series, and connecteduniverseportal.com, which is the new membership site, and the new courses will go out there. And stay tuned, because there's a lot more coming out earlier this year. So I guess the one good thing about the lockdown is I got this extra time to work on these projects that I've actually been wanting to do a lot of this stuff for a long time.
Well, there you go.
Okay, and that'll do it. Again, Victoria, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. This was amazing. I had a good time.
Yeah, it was definitely a good time.
Oh, yeah, she's fun to talk with.
She is, yeah,
Yes.
a lot of great energy.
Oh, yeah,
and,
definitely.
Yeah, and check out returnofkeppercycle.com for the Egypt trip, and we may as well plug hauntedjourneys.com, mysterioussadventurestours.com, which has all the information for the Ireland tour. So
Right.
there we go.
I'm tired. No.
How many websites did we just throw at everybody tonight?
At least 9 right now.
Yeah, probably.
You need to roll credits. It'd be so much easier.
There you go. Just roll credits. Okay, everybody. I hope I got all the shout outs in. If I missed you, of course, apologize. We're trying to get everybody and as many people as we can. So we love you all.
Have a great week, Mike.
Yes, have a great week. Oh, I'm going to hang out with Nicole for a little bit, and then when she crashes out, I'll be editing some
work.
more. Yep.
Oh, fun. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh, and one more time with Bernie.
Awesome. Usually he's back behind me, but
Yeah, he's cramping my chair there.
That's what seriously, that is what I look like at work. I am so cold. I walk around in a